قدرت مع اوضه الدرس.
طيب ماشي، هقول لحسن اهو. ماشي. طيب ماشي.
Now we will start the first session of the 8th International Dialysis course, and actually it's with great pleasure to introduce my friend and my colleague, Professor Hussein Sheashaa, the dynamo and the organizer of this course. Professor Sheashaa will give us a talk about the magnitude of the problem of end-stage renal disease and renal replacement therapy. Professor Sheashaa.
Thank you very much, Professor Al-Rifai, for this nice introduction. This is the start of the 8th International Dialysis course, and I'll start the program with a presentation of the magnitude of the problem. First of all, I would like to thank the Egyptian Agency of Partnership for Development, represented by Mr. Khalid Saeed, and I am appreciating all the efforts you did for the best organization and coordination. So thank you very much for your all activities from yesterday, and I think you started coordination 6 weeks. Thank you very much. And I'm going to discuss the magnitude of the problem under these headings: epidemiology, and by epidemiology I mean incidence, prevalence of the problem, because if it is problematic, it should be prevalent. Secondly, is it associated with outcome? And the outcome, the respective outcome is patient survival, comorbidities, and the cost, and I'll give you data about these points. Vascular access, because it is the access for dialysis, and very important, crucial, and so I'll give 1/3 of the presentation to discuss some issues related to vascular access. And then pitfalls regarding some misconceptions related to vascular access. Then one of the important decision making when we should tell the patient that dialysis is indicated. So when to start dialysis, very interesting, and you will find a big debate, but we will solve the debate in this presentation. And I'll end with what should we do. To start with, is it a prevalent disease, chronic kidney disease, and end-stage kidney disease? The answer is yes. Based on the state renal data system, this was reported this month. So all these are new and updated data. Look at the renal replacement therapy. By renal replacement therapy, I mean dialysis and transplantation. So we have two major types of replacement therapy: dialysis and transplantation. And within dialysis domain, we have hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. So if you look at this slide, the slide reflects the trend of renal replacement therapy in the United States from 1996 up to this moment, and the last data on 2013. Look here, there is increasing number of patients accumulating on hemodialysis. So hemodialysis constitutes the major renal replacement therapy modality. And this is the transplantation. So hemodialysis followed by transplantation and followed by peritoneal dialysis. And if you look to all patients treated with replacement therapy, you can find increasing trend from here, just 10 years or something like that, from this figure up to more than 700,000 in the United States are treated with replacement therapy. So it is a very common modality. And this is regarding the incidence in thousands. Again and again, a lot of patients treated with dialysis, transplantation, and peritoneal dialysis every year. The second point, regarding the age. This sector of the slide reflects the incidence. This is new patients admitted to the renal replacement therapy, and this for the prevalence. What can we see is the most common age is between 45 and 60 years. This means the productive age is affected by and treated by this modality. And the second important point from the data, there are accumulation of aged patients, 65 years and more. So this is another point. Let us discuss the cause. What are the most common causes of end-stage kidney disease. I told the United States Renal Data System because this is relevant data. We have relevant data and we can analyze. But you can find the incidence and the prevalence and different causes in every site has its unique causes. But the majority of patients who were treated by renal replacement therapy are due to diabetes. So the major cause of end-stage kidney disease in the United States is diabetes, and you can find this is the line of diabetes increasing all over the years because this is the prevalence, and this number in thousands, followed by hypertension, followed by glomerulonephritis, and lastly, cystic kidney disease and principally polycystic in the cystic domain. So the most common causes of end-stage kidney disease worldwide, and particularly in the United States, are diabetes, hypertension, glomerulonephritis, and polycystic kidney disease. But when we know that this is the etiology, we should have an action to start treating these patients earlier to change the outcome. So this is one of the important, but one of the cause of end-stage kidney disease. And this is regarding the prevalence per million. So this is number in thousands, and this is per million. Again, diabetes, followed by hypertension, followed by glomerulonephritis and cystic kidney disease. To be honest with you, there are some authors who decline the idea that hypertension is the cause of end-stage kidney disease. And there is minority of patients for whom biopsy was carried out and showed benign nephrosclerosis. So is it the cause or effect? Well, this is a big debate, but this is the data. So diabetes, hypertension, glomerulonephritis, and cystic kidney disease. And this is the incidence the same. You find the causes, the incidence mean the new diagnosis per year. The prevalence is the cumulative number of patients. To calculate prevalence, we calculate all patients who suffer from end-stage kidney disease divided by the population. Incidence is just a change in prevalence from one year to the next year. So it's just 1 year newcomer for this diagnosis. Again, another modality is known as home dialysis. And home dialysis included 2 types of dialysis: peritoneal dialysis and home hemodialysis. The majority of home dialysis is based on peritoneal dialysis. And this is, as you see in the numbers, and numbers don't lie. A very important point, to know the data in your own country. And the problem, this is a big problem in Africa. And I'll show you in one of the slides that we don't have relevant data in Africa. And in Egypt, there is a national project to have Egyptian renal data system under development. So we hope that we have our own data. Because if you have this data and you know that in Taiwan, for example, the end-stage kidney disease is so prevalent, it exceeds 3,000 per million as a prevalence, and incidence exceeding 426 per million. So if I know this is a common and national problem, I can work on it. This is the importance of the data. Regarding North Africa, I found this article published by our great professor, Rashad Barsoum, from Cairo University, and he reported the burden of chronic kidney disease in North Africa. We can look at these countries: Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. This is the incidence, and this is the prevalence, and this is according to the available data. Also, we are not sure if the data are accurate or not, but these are the data. The prevalence, the chronic kidney disease is so prevalent in Egypt in comparison to other countries. This is an important slide because it shows the etiology of chronic kidney disease and end-stage kidney disease in these countries. If we look at Egypt, the most common, according to the Egyptian Society of Nephrology, is hypertension, followed by the unknown etiology, diabetes, glomerulonephritis, and you can find a appreciable number of patients due to interstitial nephritis. When I say the interstitial nephritis is the cause of end-stage, so I should address the abuse of the drug abuse, the use of herbal remedies, smoking, infection. So I should address all these. And if I address all these and I start the proper management earlier, I can decrease the prevalence of chronic kidney disease. This is the figure that I mentioned. Look at the data from everywhere, and this is the incidence of treated interstitial disease per million population by country. And you can see the different color referring to different incidents, but what I want to stress about Africa is white. White means no data, no reliable information from Africa. And this is one of the missing and one of the important points, hot topic. We should have our own data. We should exchange our environment by looking at the data, our data, by screening, by applying the good history, by harvesting the data by electronic means or by paperwork, whatever the modality we should think about. Because if we don't have data, we cannot do strategic plan to change the face of the interstitial disease. The second point, the outcome. Do you expect that interstitial kidney disease or chronic kidney disease is associated with important outcome? Yes or no? It is yes. Who says it? Yes? Why you say this? Thank you. So to answer this question, I should give you data for convincing you. When I say any subject, any topic, any problem associated with outcome, it should be associated with solid outcome. And the solid outcome criteria is patient survival. So if the disease is associated with mortality, it's important disease. If it is prevalent, as I mentioned, it is important disease. If it's associated with comorbidities, it is an important disease. If it's associated with high cost, it is an important disease. Look at the data. This is not early stage, this is chronic kidney disease, because we diagnose chronic kidney disease based on estimated GFR. And we have 5 stages of chronic kidney disease. Normal estimated GFR, but there is abnormal urine, proteinuria, persistent albuminuria, hematuria, etc. This is stage 1. From 90 to 60, it is stage 2. From 60 to 30, stage 3. From 30 to 15, 4, and below 15, it is stage 5 chronic kidney disease. These are the definitions of chronic kidney disease. If you look at the sector of mortality, if you are looking at chronic kidney disease versus no chronic kidney disease, either the data unadjusted or adjusted, you can find a difference, a big difference in mortality between chronic kidney disease and no chronic kidney disease. Although you can see here some improvement in the outcome, but still there is a big gap between patients who suffer from chronic kidney disease or who don't have chronic kidney disease. So the presence of chronic kidney disease diagnosis is bad news because it's associated with mortality. And the higher the stage of chronic kidney disease, this means the lower the estimated GFR, the higher the mortality and the lower the probability of survival. The green line here is not good, it's bad, because it reflects stage 4 and 5. You find here survival is lower here in stage 4 and 5 in comparison to other. So CKD is associated with high mortality. The higher the stage of chronic kidney disease, the higher the mortality too. Renal replacement therapy and mortality. Look here. This is the line of transplantation. You find here, through the years, there is improvement in survival in patients with transplantation. But the major and important point is mortality is very high in hemodialysis. So mortality, if we compare dialysis versus transplantation, transplantation has a major survival advantage. And this was reflected in this article that was published early this year, including data about 1.2 million patients. If we look at the kidney transplant, we have here 300,000 patients who are fit for transplantation, but they don't have donors. And these are patients, 300,000 patients, who proceeded for transplantation because they have available donor. Look at survival. The median survival for patients who are treated with dialysis is just 5 years. in comparison to 12 years of transplantation. This means that transplantation offers a survival advantage in comparison to dialysis. By another means, the best available modality to replace kidney function is renal transplantation. Although it is not the ideal, because you can find complications like rejection, infection, recurrence, etc. So it is the best, but not the ideal. But if you compare it to dialysis, it gives us better quality of life, more physiological treatment, and survival advantage. It's a very long slide. And if you look here, the 5-year survival for hemodialysis patient even is lower than many cancers, like prostate, thyroid, breast cancer. So if the mortality is high, we should do something to change the mortality, because a lot of money is expended in this modality and there is high mortality. So we should improve the care of these patients. And this is by modality. If we look at hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, in the past, peritoneal dialysis was associated with higher mortality. But currently, the mortality in hemodialysis is exceeding the peritoneal dialysis rate. One of the important messages that I want to convey, look here. If this is the hemodialysis, the mortality is very high in the early period, within the 3 months of starting dialysis. So we should think of proper care, proper preparation of the patient in pre-dialysis care, education, the facility, improvement of the facilities, new introduction to the dialysis by the best chain. So this will, I think, this will be reflected on the outcome, and this is the data. Again, a lot of comorbidities. Patients with chronic kidney disease have a lot of cardiovascular problems, like atherosclerotic heart disease, hypertrophy, heart failure, etc. And you know that chronic cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of mortality in chronic kidney disease, in dialysis and transplantation. So another data given us that this is a very interesting and very important domain. We have here high mortality, high comorbidity, high rate of hospitalization, and this is a cost in my state. So this is a cost through 1 decade, 10 years, from 2003 to 2013. What you find, the cost is increased from $15 billion per year to currently $30 billion. So a lot of money is expended to treat these patients. And this is the cost of their modality. As you see, hemodialysis constitutes large amount of money in comparison to transplantation and peritoneal dialysis. This is a very interesting slide, because it gives us the total Medicare in decision disease expenditure per person per year by modality. If you look here, this is for transplantation. The cost of transplantation this is a hemodialysis patient. The cost of hemodialysis patient exceeding $80,000 per year, just for one patient for hemodialysis. Peritoneal dialysis, it is $65,000 or $70,000 per year, and transplantation, it is between $30,000. So at the end of the day, transplantation over advantages and is less costly. So this is the data. Regarding Egypt, although we don't have an accurate data, but this is around the total annual cost for the treatment of indecision disease, is 1.8 billion Egyptian pound. And this constitutes 12% of the total annual budget of the Ministry of Health. Vascular access. So if you look at this slide, this is from United Citizen Data System, and this is a vascular access and hemodialysis initiation. And this is one of the big problems that we should educate ourselves, educate the patients. We should improve the service, because it is not accepted to have 60% or 3 years, 60% of the patients start dialysis through catheters. And this is in my state. And this is 80% use catheter at any time, any catheter to be used. But at least 60% of the patients started dialysis through catheter. And by years, after start dialysis, fistula is created. And if we take 1 year at cross section, at initiation, here you can find 80% of the patients in the United States started their dialysis through catheter, and this fraction through graft, and approximate 15 or 20% of the patient through fistula. And after that, through the months of dialysis, at 1 year, you find here fistula for 65% of the patient, catheter for 20%, and a graft for 15%. So this is the data of the United States. Why I'm stressing on vascular access? I stated that renal replacement therapy is associated with high mortality, right? It's associated with high mortality. One of the reasons of this association of high mortality may be due to the use of catheters. Because catheters is associated with infection, with hospitalization, with colonization of bacteria, and with inflammation. And this is one of the studies that showed that in this cohort of patients included 583 patients, catheters are associated with, catheter usage is associated with inflammatory markers. So we should take care of this point. And this is from dialysis outcome prospective pattern study group, included 50,000 patients from the United States and another 50,000 or more from other countries. If you look here, the service in Japan is better than the United States because 85% or 84% of the patients start their dialysis through fistula. So Japan, it seems that the pre-dialysis care in Japan is better than the United States. If you look at here this is the Gulf area, 80% start the dialysis through catheter. So we need to change the mind all over the world. Regarding Egypt, do we have data? Yes, we have data, and this is the data came from the Ain Shams University. They collected data of 22,000 patients through Egypt. And they have a questionnaire. The questionnaire is just to look at the patients, prevalent patients. Is the patient dialyzed through fistula or catheter or graft? This is the data. 72% of the patients are dialyzed through fistula. This is prevalent and this is not incident. Incident means as a start, but prevalent means all over the cumulative numbers. So 72% through fistula, 25%, so 1/4 of the patients are maintained on dialysis, on regular dialysis through catheter, and the graft only for 1.7%. And the most important statement is that when we use catheter in Egypt, the mostly used on a temporary basis, and this is one of the pitfalls, because temporary catheter usually associated with more infections. So this is the point. So if we look at the 1/4 of patients, 49% of this quarter used temporary catheter, and just 5% permanent catheter was used. So we should look at this sector, vascular access, by great caution and great care. If we take care of the catheters, if we take care of the vascular access, we can change the outcome. And this is one of the editorial comments. And one of the trials is to prevent colonization. How to prevent colonization? If we want to address this question, how to prevent bacterial colonization in the catheter? Yes, it's a question for you. Yes. How to prevent it? To use antibiotic? Right or wrong? Yeah, okay. So you mean improvement of handling of the catheter. So we should use aseptic, not septic, just 1 liter, but it's a big difference. Complete aseptic technique. Take care of the handling of the catheter and disinfection of the catheter exit. And regarding the use of catheter locks, do you encourage the use of antibiotic? The answer, we don't encourage the use of antibiotic because we are afraid of resistant bacteria strains. So this is why this domain is under development, and we still need further research in this issue. One of the new research is the using of sodium erythrit as cath accept lock agent, and in comparison to heparin can work, but again this is not large number of patients, so we need large number of patients to address this issue. This cathecept is not antibiotic, but it has antimicrobial and some anticoagulant activity. So it may work well, but we need further studies. One of the important questions, and I'll ask you and then I answer. If you are taking care of a patient with chronic kidney disease, and when you advise him to have fistula, when you advise him to have permanent vascular access like fistula, because catheter, why we do catheter? Because we are late in management. So the patient come to us with clinical indications, so we put catheters. If we wanted to change the catheter, we should work earlier, advise him to earlier have a fistula. So when should we discuss with him the decision of fistula creation? Yes, please. Stage 4. There is no 4B. The stages of chronic kidney disease 3A, 3B, and 4. Okay, stage 4. Yes, yes.
Going to be when
No, I'm not asking the indication of dialysis. I asked when we should advise our patients to go to vascular surgeon for creation of a fistula. Yes, please.
chronic diabetic hypertension, disturbances of urea.
I want a more clarified indication because you can find diabetic with creatinine 1.5. Diabetic hypertensive with creatinine 1.5. Am I going to advise him for fistula creation?
Irreversible chronic urinary.
So,
Irreversible.
yes. Yes. So you mentioned stage 4, and this was the guideline statement. If the patient is stage 4, this is a stage of advice for fistula creation. Look at this data. This is very interesting data because we should individualize. We have guidelines, and I am a person who evaluates the patient. So I should evaluate patient by patient in an individualized manner. Look here. If we are dealing with young age patient from 18 to 44, and all of these patients have fistula, so here, after 6 months, for each 2 patients, 1 patient will start dialysis. After 2 years, all the patients will be dialyzed. So it is beneficial to have fistula earlier in this young age group. Okay? If the estimated GFR below 25, this means stage 4. But if we are here dealing with elderly patients, here after 6 months, if I have 12 patients above this age, only 1 patient needs dialysis after 6 months from the 12 patients. And here, even after a year, for 8 patients, only 1 patient needs dialysis. And after 2 years, for 5 patients, only 1. So it is not beneficial to do fistula for all patients. So we should consider another variable rather than besides the estimated GFR. So the timing for creating permanent vascular access, and we would like it, the best is fistula, if it is feasible. Our decision depends upon many factors. Some of them, as you mentioned, stage 4, lowers the estimated GFR in the domain of stage 4. Plus, we should respect the age, because stage 4 and the elderly, I not advise for fistula, just keep eye up and follow up with this patient. But for young, it's okay. So age is important. Another very important point is the trend in follow-up trajectory of creatinine. Suppose that you have this patient and creatinine, serum creatinine is 4 milligram per deciliter all through the last 5 years. Why am I going to, if I calculate estimated GFR, it will be in stage 4. But there is no progression, it is static. So why I do fistula now? So I should keep eye on this patient. So I put in consideration on the timing of vascular access on estimated GFR, the age of the patient, trajectory or the trend in progression of kidney function, and all over evaluation of the patient. If I have the sense that the patient will need dialysis within the next 6 months, I may recommend doing a fistula earlier. Again, in the elderly group, this is a very challenging group. Yes, please.
Given that there's a je ne parle pas bien français.
Okay.
Mais,
No, just a bit.
mais oui, oui. Ma question, c'est quelle est la prévalence des flores microbiologiques ou la colonisation des cathéters provisoires dans votre centre?
Dr. John, if you can. Please, Dr. John.
No, the tâche.
Yeah. The very interesting question.
Prevalence, ok.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Les types de
Okay.
microbiologiques, ok? Ok?
Well, yes, I got your question now after the translation, and thanks, Dr. John. The answer is we are lucky because in the center we depend on fistula. So the majority of patients in dialysis center in this dialysis facility, in our dialysis facility, is through fistula, and the use of catheter is very, very infrequent. So it is not a problem in our center. And whenever we have a patient with catheter and complaint of fever, we evaluate him by blood culture, and we have a well-established microbiological lab, but it is so infrequent, so it is not so common in our center. Because you can say all patients in the dialysis center, in the dialysis service here, are dialyzed through fistula. But if you have a catheter, we should always look at the catheter is essentially site for colonization. Either the organism introduced with the introduction of the catheter, or the colony, the biofilm, is resistant to antimicrobial, even if you use antimicrobial drug. So our policy, if you are confronted with a patient who is dialyzed with catheter and there is a fever, and this fever is persistent beyond 48 hours, we start the antibiotics. If this permanent catheter, and after a week, if there is no response to antimicrobial and we have the cultures, we think of removal of the catheter. And if it is temporary catheter, we remove it. And we take culture tip as well, blood culture and culture tip, and deal with the organism. And I think Professor Ashraf Hoda can give us a hint about this issue because he had enormous experience in Egypt and Saudi Arabia about dealing with catheter, because they use catheter there more than here. Dr. Ashraf.
I think in temporary catheter, when we have evidence of catheter-related sepsis, I will remove the catheter. In permanent catheter, I can give chance, as Professor Hussein said, I can give chance for 48 hours. 48 hours treatment. If there is response, I will give chance. I will keep the catheter. We have sometimes salvage procedure in permanent catheter. I can try exchanging this permicase over the wire in other chance. Otherwise, I will remove it if no response.
But again, we are lucky because we depend on the fistula. The use of catheter is so limited in this center. Regarding the aged patients, it is very challenging because, as I mentioned, in the aged patient we can wait down to estimate GFR below 15, and even if it is below 15, I should look at the patient and the progression, the presence of symptoms, the presence of complication. So in this study that includes 17,000 patients, all of them were elderly, above 67 years. Look here, this is all of these patients were subject to creation of fistula. 9,000 have successful fistula, matured the fistula, and this is one of the big pitfalls in the fistula, failure of maturation. And the other failure, 7,000. If we look at the odds for success, if the fistula is created before 6 months before starting dialysis, the odds of success is like you see here, this is 1. So if the interval between creating the fistula and need of dialysis is less than 6 months, the odds for success is lower. You can say to me, it's okay, for all elderly patients, I'll go ahead and do fistula 6 months, 9 months, 1 year even before dialysis. What is the problem? The problem is, if you create fistula earlier, you will need a lot of interventions to keep it patent in this age group. So the wisdom is needed when we deal with elderly patients. And the decision is based on a common sense and looking at the progression of the kidney function, and as well if there is any symptoms related to chronic kidney disorder. So timing of fistula placement is still in the perspectives and still very crucial. One of the important points to increase maturation of fistula is to allow after fistula creation controlled exercise program, like you see in this slide. Elbow flexion extension, wrist flexion extension, hand open and close, and this is in a controlled fashion. It is important. Regarding the pitfalls, one of the important pitfalls that we made here, if we discuss with the patient chronic kidney disease education, and we say to him, it seems that we are approaching the need for dialysis, so we should have fistula. And then we educate him what's meant by fistula, and then he will say to us, yes. You have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
I think the major challenge that we often see for low resource setting countries.
Please raise your voice, please, or use the mic.
Challenge that we are going to see, or that we have been seeing in low resource setting countries, is the issue of HIV disease as a risk factor for most of the patients with chronic kidney disease, whether from given, whether associated with treatment. And I think when we talk about interventions, where we now talk about fistula issues, temporal catheter, the rate of infection or rate of fevers in those patients seems to be quite significant. What I'm not so sure with the data that we have provided so far is whether we can actually extrapolate the same data to cover a population where they have now this comorbidity of HIV disease, because it seems to be quite a significant risk factor for the end-stage disease. So the question now is to say, are we going to behave the same in terms of the data that we have to extrapolate to this population, which is at a very high risk? In my center, most of our patients that we actually have in the hospital, for instance, we at the hospital we only dialyze patients who are HIV negative. Patients who have HIV positive disease are dialyzed in the private. But what you then see is that we have much more HIV disease with quite significant challenges in those patients, particularly in terms of vascular access issues. What would be sort of your take on this issue or your recommendation? Because the data that you do provide doesn't seem to encompass the issue of HIV disease and what are the challenges that might be there in that population.
So you touched on a very important disease. As I mentioned before, there is different prevalence and different issues regarding this disease. So in Egypt, it is rare to have HIV, although there are some patients we diagnose them to have positive serology for HIV, but in this center we don't do dialysis for them. We just transfer them to the Ministry of Health for the fever hospital to take care of their dialysis. So we don't have a good experience in dealing with HIV patients. And I think for even in the Western community, in the Western literature, they don't advise isolation of this patient, just to use the general infection control policy. And I think this will be within the direction of infection control. So would you please let us to hear about the infection control, and we can continue the discussion on this sector. But I don't like to extrapolate data. So if we wanted to have a good answer, we should have a study on this population. And we leave the HIV to the sector of infection control, and if the question will not be answered, we can discuss it later. Regarding the fistula, some patients are afraid. If the fistula is created, this may hasten the need for dialysis. The answer is not. The fistula will not lead to progression of chronic kidney disease. Even this is a fantastic data come from this cohort of 123 patients. This is the rate of progression of kidney disease before fistula creation, 6 ml per minute per year, and after fistula creation just 0.5. So we don't have data showing that creation of fistula is associated with fast decline or rapid decline of kidney function. But we have naive data. I am not recommending fistula to retard the progression of chronic kidney disease. But here I want to assure the patient we don't have data showing that fistula is associated with decline of GFR. But we have some data to the reverse, that the use of the creation of fistula may decrease the progression of chronic kidney disease. How? The theoretical point is explained in this figure. In chronic kidney disease, we have hypertension, we have chemoreflex, triggered by renal ischemia, and then vasoconstriction, and this is vice versa, vice circle. And here, if you have fistula, this will increase venous return, increase blood to the lung, increase oxygenation, leading to decreasing of the hypoxia of the kidney and decreasing this vasoconstriction. So it seems that the fistula is not associated with progression of chronic kidney disease. But I shouldn't advise the patient to have fistula to retard the progression of chronic kidney disease. But I assure him creation of fistula doesn't mean that you need dialysis. You will need dialysis if the kidney function decline and you have symptoms, as I mentioned in the last sector of my presentation. I'm going to escape this issue of the catheter because we have on Wednesday a session for the surgical aspects for all these. But this is a very big data about the tunnel catheter. 138,000 patients, dialysis was created through tunnel catheter. Some of these patients were shifted to air fistula, some of them shifted to graft. And here they found that graft and the fistula are equivalent in efficacy and safety. So what I want to stress upon regarding the vascular access, we should look at the patient. The medicine is evoluted toward the patient-centeredness. So I have to have the decision, I have 3 axes: clinical, prognosis, and vascular anatomy. If I look at the clinical data, if the age is above 75 and there is no comorbid conditions, go ahead for fistula. If there is multiple comorbidities, we will expect that the fistula will not mature, so graft will be a nice option. This is the option. If we look at prognosis regarding renal and overall prognosis. Renal progression, if it is rapid, go ahead for fistula. If it is slow in progression, postpone the decision of permanent vascular access, and you may think of graft just 2 weeks before the need of dialysis. So this is, if you assess the overall survival and no other life-threatening condition, go straight for fistula. And if there is multiple comorbidities and the presence of non-renal life-threatening illness, consider graft or tunnel catheter according to the patient situation. If you are from those who believes in the vascular anatomy, if you have an artery above 2 millimeter, vein above 2.5 millimeter, no stenosis, you can, and no risk for failure to mature, go straight for fistula. So this is clinical approach, how to decide the best vascular access for your patient. This is one of the figures that I want you to give a comment. What's your comment on this photo? If this is right or wrong? This is dialysis or central catheter, double lumen catheter. What's wrong in this slide? What's wrong? Yeah, yes, it's okay. But it's not the crucial, it's not the most important point that I want to address. Another point? Another point? Yes? Okay, we don't like subclavian because subclavian is associated with venous stenosis that may lead to disfigurement. What else? What else? The most important point, look here. This is red. When we say red, it is arterial line. It is not in the artery, but it is the side that gives the blood from the patient to the machine. So here they cross over the blue in the red. So this will create high circulation. So we should take care of proper disinfection, proper usage of the best vein, and to follow the rules. Because if you cross over the lines, this will increase recirculation. Regarding the initiation of dialysis, the initiation of dialysis through the last years, the initiation of dialysis, the idea is to start dialysis earlier, was supported by the United States practice. But when they looked at the data, approximately 1 million patients, they find that the earlier the start of dialysis, the lower the survival, and the later the higher the survival. So this was astonishing. I want just to show you that there is a problem in observational studies, and the use of estimated GFR formulas are not good for starting dialysis, because estimated GFR formulas depend on creatinine, and the creatinine in malnutrition, in a patient with malnutrition, is low. In a patient with muscle weakness or muscle atrophy, it is low, and it's not the actual reflection of kidney function. So the problem is in the creatinine itself. So to get rid, this is one of the randomized studies, showed that there is no difference if we start dialysis on estimated GFR 10 to 14 or 5 to 7 ml per minute. We find the curves are the same. So in 2012, the KDOQI working group suggested starting dialysis therapies when symptoms and signs attributable to kidney failure are present. Perhaps as a reflection of this, the number of early starts among the incident dialysis patients in the United States has diminished. As you see here, this is the blue line. Blue line reflects low estimated GFR at dialysis initiation. Through the year, it decrease, and again, it start to increase in the current years. So we don't dialyze figures, we don't dialyze creatinine, we dialyze a patient. So we should evaluate the patient overall, and we take the proper decision according to our clinical laboratory judgment. But we shouldn't be so late, because so late means mortality and morbidity. One of the most important point is early referral. So we should have system that select the best timing for the nephrologist referral. So initiation of dialysis should be timely, neither early nor late. And this is the current KDOQI 2015 update. Show the working group favored an individualized approach to timing dialysis initiation. So if we wanted to have an answer, if the patient is in stage 5 chronic kidney disease, estimated GFR below 15 ml, my decision is not primarily on estimated GFR, but I should focus on this group of patients because I am expecting to find symptoms in this patient. I evaluate these patients if estimated GFR below 15. If I find volume overload, precarditis, tendency to resistant hyperkalemia or acidosis, I may start dialysis even if estimated GFR 15 ml per minute. But if I have a patient with estimated GFR 10 ml per minute and no acidosis, no hyperkalemia, no clinically manifest overload, I can follow up this patient in low clearance clinic. So long as I have the follow-up for this patient, I can postpone the dialysis until I am convinced by the best timing of dialysis. If I don't have the follow-up protocol, it's better to start dialysis for these patients. And I think after the finish of the talk, Professor Ashraf will give us his experience in this point, because if we start late, this may put the patient in a very bad situation. What should we do? We should improve our care. We should put the patient centeredness or patient wishes in front of our eyes, because patients with chronic kidney disease, especially stage 5, have a lot of symptoms. As you see, general symptoms, fatigue, dizziness, itching, a lot of symptoms. Cardiovascular manifestation, respiratory manifestation, sleep disorders, neurological disorders, gastrointestinal and pain. So a lot of symptoms. So our objective with dealing with this patient, we should improve the symptomatology, because this is the patient needs to be improved, his situation to be improved. So we should concentrate on the patient symptom. So this is patient-reported outcome, to the extent that FDA added to the randomized control trial and subjective parameter, which is patient-reported outcome. So we should take care of that, and we should have scores to predict the poor prognosis. This is a predictor for elderly patient. This score depends on 9 points. And the patient, the higher the score, the higher the risk of mortality, and the higher the need for care. We should take care to do diagnose early, deal early. We shouldn't like, I don't like to have this food. This is angiogram without contrast, because all the vessels are calcified. So if we wait until our patients suffer from this scenario, this is a very bad situation. So we should have an early action before finding this catastrophic vascular calcification. This is why we have the course for hemodialysis in this center, although the primary objective of this center or primary task of this center is to take care of transplant patient. But this is the aim of the course, is to improve the care of dialysis. This is one of the courses, and this is one of our colleagues from Arab countries, from even Europe, from Nigeria. I visited them at Lagos and stayed there 1 week. And this Lagos and Rwanda, Kigali, this is Sudan, Addis Ababa. So we are going everywhere to spread the knowledge to fight the kidney disease. And we have created here in Egypt, the Egyptian Society of Nephrology, a virtual academy. And this academy, this will be a gift for all of you. All of you will be offered user and password to get the access for 1,900 lectures and 1,800 videos. And you will find even this course, and this is my lecture, already uploaded to the system in the early morning this day. At the end, we should collaborate together, because collaboration divides a task and multiplies a success. And I think this is the objective of this course, and thank you for attention. Yes, please. Yes.
لو في اسم النور كله
Un 100% initial.